The example in our notes say, use your understanding of the number system to answer the questions below. Number 1, use the graphic organizer below to correctly place each of the following values. -9. -9 is a rational number because we can place it over 1, but -9 does not have a part or a piece, only a negative sign. So -9 is an integer. 0, when we studied our definitions, we had all counting numbers, including 0, as a whole number. 1/8 is a fraction form, but 1 divided by 8 does not give us a whole number, it would give us a decimal. So the furthest 1/8 can go is rational. -1/2. Even though there is a negative sign, it cannot be an integer because 1/2 is part of a whole, not a whole amount. So -1/2 is only rational. 15. 15 is a rational number because it can be written as 15 over 1. However, it does not have a decimal or fraction piece with it, such as a part, so it is also considered an integer. However, it does not have a negative sign, so 15 is a whole number, 15. 126. 126 does not have a decimal or part attached to it, so even though it is a rational number, we can drop it into integer. However, 126 does not have a negative sign, so we can place it further down into whole numbers. -37. -37 is a rational number because we can write it as -37 over 1. However, -37 does not have a part or piece attached to it, so we can drop it into integers. With -37, it is a negative number, so it cannot go any further into whole numbers, so -37 can only go into integer. 2/3. 2/3 is a part to whole, and it can also be written as a decimal form, but it does not consist of a whole amount. So 2/3 is only rational. Number 2. 4 different statements about the number system are written below. Determine which statements are true and which are false. Correct any false statements. Number 1. An integer is always a whole number is false, because an integer is not always a whole number. Sometimes it is its opposite. Number 2, any whole number is also an integer is true. Number 3, all negative numbers are integers is false because all negative whole numbers are integers. If you have a negative decimal or fraction number, it is not an integer. Number 4, all rational numbers are either fractions or decimals. That is false. Not all rational numbers are either fractions or decimals. Some numbers, rational numbers, are also integers and whole numbers. The students in Mrs. Caldwell's class sorted 8 different numbers into a diagram representing the number system. Determine if the numbers listed are in the correct location and correctly label any numbers that are misplaced. -1 is false. -1 is listed as a whole number, but it is an integer. 10/5. 10/5 is in the correct place of whole numbers because 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 2 is a whole number. -7 is true. It is listed as an integer. -8.5 is listed as an integer and it is false because we have a decimal place of 5/10, so it belongs in rational, even though it has a negative sign. Negative 9 7/10 is listed as a rational number. That is true because it has the decimal amount of 7/10. 3/6 is listed as a rational number, and that is true because 3 divided by 6 is 5/10, which is a decimal amount. 3/4 is listed as a rational number, which is true because 3 divided by 4 is 75/100. And negative 8/2 is false because 8 divided by 2 is 4, so that would be a negative 4, which is an integer.